Welcome to After the Fact, where we don't have to try to be funny. Might actually be a little more funny.
Yeah. I don't know how hard I was trying in the actual.
You're absolutely right. I don't think that was a train wreck. So
That was, man.
for any of you, I don't know if the After the Fact. I mean, they got I don't know, our latest episode on like Spotify or whatever got like 300 views or something like that. I don't know why.
You know, they probably thought we died.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
We had posthumous.
Maybe they thought we were dead. But yeah, there was something, I don't know, there was something about that episode that just drew people in, and, we got too scared and ran away.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was...
Do we, I mean, off chance we have any loyal viewers, listeners, who actually followed this podcast at any point, who are shocked to discover that we're back, and this is the first time you're seeing our faces.
Sorry.
What the fuck, man? What were you doing for the last 4 years?
Yeah. Why do you even know we're still here?
Yeah. What are you?
We gotta listen like within the last month through Spotify. Like I didn't do it.
I didn't do that
Spotify.
either.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. But
our track record, we will have our 10th episode up by like 2050.
Yeah.
Yeah. What number? What is this?
It's exponential. This is 8.
This is 8. Okay,
8,
so yeah,
yes.
we might actually.
Yeah. So and I'm also coming off of having released the previous 7 episodes on YouTube, so I am very acutely aware of all of the insane lore that we've come up with 4 years ago that I have absolutely no memory of.
Yeah, man.
That was a lot of fun.
We've talked about this not on camera, but like it is bizarre going back to the podcast and like listening to it now 4 years later, having forgotten all of it.
Yeah,
like it was a good podcast.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, no, I mean right off the bat, I think in the first episode when we brought up this is George H.W. Bush dying during a stunt and getting shot by the Secret Service.
God, I forgot about that.
Like that whole thing. And then, what was it? The cops took over the town and the violent crime went up 200% or whatever. Yeah, we were actually kind of funny. I don't know what happened with episode 8. Yeah. This is after the fact. This is 7. I think we're an episode behind because we didn't do an after the fact after the first one. At least the first after the fact was with Mike.
That was with Mike. Yeah, Money Man Mike.
Mr. the Salt Shaker. Yeah. And also Reggie from the Nintendo.
That's right.
And I don't know. I mean, I could just so we're gonna film a podcast like this or in various positions where we're each just taking up half the screen. You could just put the picture up over me, like as I'm doing the impression of Reggie.
You could be like, "Oh, we've got him on the phone," and then hold him up and be like, "Dad," or something stupid.
Or I could do voiceover. That wouldn't be as funny. Yeah. Could do voiceover on this. I don't know.
Or we could get real guests. We could. If we sent like enough phone calls to Jordan Peterson, he'd come.
Yeah.
In more ways than one.
I heard you want me on your podcast. I am Jordan D. Peterson. Might see a little interview from him in our next episode. I wasn't ready for that.
No, yeah.
Ugh.
Did we do any planning before? Like, I don't think we really
I think you wrote stuff down. I
guess I should start doing that.
For the sand... You may have a point.
Yeah.
But
We did improvise most of that, though.
Yeah, I mean, well, so the thing is, I mean, as I was also saying before, our first few episodes were kind of rough. Like, even though we did have funny bits, like, even now, like this, you know, there was a couple of good things in there that we farted out.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think just, you know, kind of being off it for a while. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's just like, not that necessarily what I find funny is different, but like I'm analyzing the things I'm saying differently than I was 5 years ago.
Is that cat tree go? What is that? Is that word?
Drilled it to the ceiling.
There's a cat tree over there. And it goes straight up to the ceiling.
Right through it.
All the way up.
The upstairs neighbors.
Yeah.
Who in this case is God. Because we're on the top floor. When you live on the top floor, God is your upstairs neighbor. Also.
Oh, man. I wasn't joking about that pigeons and squirrels bit. I do think pigeons are like the Jews of animals. You know?
I mean, yeah, the yarmulke definitely does help too.
It does.
Does genuinely help.
And the head thing is kind of like when the Jews that pray, they do the thing.
This is a genuine question because they seem very similar to me, and maybe they are more similar than Israel and Palestine would like to admit. But what is the difference between Passover and Ramadan? They both seem to have very similar...
No.
Like, you both fast.
Yes. Passover, you don't
10 days
fast. Passover, you can't eat bread products for 7.
Oh, I thought it was fasting.
For 8 days.
Oh, okay.
But you can eat other stuff. The only time Jews fast, it's for a day or half a day.
Okay. All right. Never mind. I thought Passover was fasting too.
Okay. Nah, it's like fasting, but there's less rules to it.
Well, like. Okay.
I don't know enough about Ramadan. I do know some. There's a lot of similarities. There's more in common between Jews and Muslims than there are between Jews and Christians on a religious level.
Yeah. Okay.
Just in terms of practice and behavior and culture, largely I assume because, you know, I don't know, like there's not another understanding of God in Islam. That's like one of the main things. You add a guy and say this is God too. It changes. It changes.
Yeah.
You know, centuries of theology.
Christianity did.
Yeah.
And then Mormonism did it further with God 3.
Yes. Now I would respect Mormonism a lot more if they just called him God 3. Be like, you know what? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's bad.
Or Jesus 2.0. I don't know. I mean, that's essentially what they were going for, right?
Yeah.
That's the third book of the Bible. That's one thing that never... I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know how to say this not meanly. But how can you be so brain dead to be a Mormon? like, I'm sorry. But it's a fucking stupid...
Sorry to all of our Mormon viewers.
It's the most stupid and provably wrong religion. Like
well, there is Scientology.
I mean, there is some parts of Catholicism that, like, you know, can't be necessarily proven.
It's like I think a religion, if it can be actively disproven, it's like, you know, come on. And that, you know, I can't imagine subscribing.
I mean, Mormonism, Scientology, I get it. I mean, you just want really good lawyers, become a Scientologist.
Yeah,
it's because easier becoming a Jew.
Exactly.
Yeah, because that'd be the only better option.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
God.
Yeah. Maybe I should convert
to Scientology.
Not a Jewentology. It's like Scientology, but like, I just believe Judaism. I just call myself a Scientologist.
It's like
Scientology.
It's like 5-dimensional chess.
Yeah.
Jews for Jesus thing where it's like.
Is that a thing? Jews for Jesus?
Oh, you don't know about these guys?
No, I don't know about that.
Chris Pratt worked for
Isn't
them.
they're just Christians?
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
So they're just Christians who try to trick Jews into becoming Christians by calling themselves something else. There's also Messianic Jews who are they're just Christians, but they go after Jews and try to convert them, and they wear the fucking stuff where it's like, look, I'm wearing the stuff you guys wear, but they do it wrong. Just very weird. And you'll see those guys will be the ones who bring shofars to like Trump rallies, and it's just like, all right, man, just do whatever. I don't.
Jesus, I didn't know about that.
No, yeah,
that's hilarious.
They're fucked. They are.
It's just like you just added extra steps to being a Christian. Like that's all you did.
And it's sad because like the people who run that stuff are like predators trying to like trick people, but the people who like earnestly believe in it, it's just like, come on now, man.
I mean, so that's that's something that pisses me off the most is that the people who are most visible in religions are often the most insufferable. Because the thing is, there are plenty of religious people who believe in God, and they're fine with me not believing in God, and we can be friends, and, like, we can exist together, but, like, not so much with my family, I don't believe in God, and they very much want me to, so it's like, I don't this is not how you draw me in. The person who's not trying to push me towards it is actually making me more likely to, be religious than the person who's telling me you should be religious.
Yeah. And it's one of the things that really stuck with me about, like, being Jewish, having grown up around, with no real religious background, but around Jews, and then leaving and moving to where I was the only Jew. Where, like, you really take for granted what it's like to not have preaching be a part of your culture. Because, like, we don't try and get we don't have people do missionary work.
Yeah.
It's just not a thing. And it's actively, you're not supposed to.
I mean, imagine a Jewish missionary, though. Yeah. They would not sell the product for it. They were like, hey, you want to be a Jew? Probably not, no.
Yeah. Well, no, literally, if you don't know this, traditionally, and this doesn't happen so much with the Reform synagogues, and I don't know if it happens with conservative synagogues, but with Orthodox synagogues, they still do this, I think, where if you want to convert to becoming a Jew, the rabbi is supposed to tell you no, and they only let you if you come 3 times. Then they will let you. Yeah. And there's a whole thing where the idea is like the first thing you tell someone converting to Judaism is like, people want you to, they want to kill us. Like, that's still going on. Like, this is going to suck. There's a hell of a lot of bad stuff. Yeah. And you're going to suffer. And there's really not many benefits. That's how you lead. And then once you get that they're like 100% not concerned with that, then you're like, all right, we also have some good fried food. Like, there's some perks.
And we don't believe in hell. That's also good.
Exactly. We kind of do. We believe there's a pit, and you can go there, but just for a little bit, and then you leave. That's the Jewish conception of hell. Is if you're bad enough, it's like, all right, you go to that hole for a little while, and until you learn your lesson. It's like a timeout, and you go on. You're done with hell. I think that's a really much better way to visualize hell. I think it's because it's so weird to me in Christian ideology where it's like the whole religion is about hypothetically redemption and forgiveness. And it's like, but if you die before that happens, then you spend eternity suffering. And it's like, well, that seems a little bit harsh.
The most Jewish response to hell. That's kind of harsh.
I don't think I'd like that very much at all.
A little bit. Have you seen the show Smiling Friends at all?
I've been meaning to. I know it's supposed to be very good.
Zach Hadel is one of the main animators, and I think Michael Cusack is the other guy. They're both fucking hilarious. There's a bit where he's in hell and he sees his grandma, and he's like, oh, "Grandma, you lived your life really well. What are you? Why are you here in hell?" She's like, "Oh, I said damn one time in 1942." And it's like That's a little harsh. Like, why are you in hell all the way? Like, yeah, that's definitely.
Yeah.
Because that is how some people are, and it's, I don't know, man. And as I see more, like, trans discourse and stuff, too, there's just so much of the, you're gonna burn forever because you're like this sort of talk, and it's like, why?
Yeah.
Like, if you actually... Like, if as a Christian you genuinely actually care about the people that you're trying to convert, wouldn't you want to believe that God would be nice enough to let them into heaven? Like, as long as they're not assholes.
And it's something I don't get with Christianity. It's a thing I don't get with some groups of Jews, where it's just like, if somebody actively wants to, like, be your religion and, like, they're, like, trying and stuff, especially with Christianity, why would you not be cool with that? That's like your whole deal if you're a Christian, is you want people to believe, that agree with you. So if they come in, they're like, hey, I'm transgender, but I am otherwise a Christian. At the bare minimum, you're like, well, at least it's something to work with, I would think.
But I mean, and even that gets harmful though, because it very quickly becomes, okay, now you've accepted Jesus into your heart. Now accept that you're not trans, right? Yeah, that's the part where it's like, and I mean and that's the rough thing about religion in general, and maybe not so much Judaism, I guess, the way you explained it, right? Is because most religions try to draw you in with initial kindness, right? It's like, oh, yes, Jesus loves you. He loves you so much. He'll do anything to save your life. Come follow Jesus. And you come into church. It's like, well, he'll help you as long as you're not gay, and as long as you're not transgender, and as long as you don't, like, believe in leftist ideologies, basically. And so it's always like, it always draws, and I mean, Mormonism is definitely a big one where they draw you in with kindness, and it's like, I mean, everybody knows Mormonism is having, like, the most very very polite, very innocent, very like, just nice. Not trying to
swell guys.
But then also believe that some dude looked in a hat at some rocks and translated it, but then translated it different the second time because the story was I don't know. It's a lot of weird stuff. And that's a weird thing also in my life, that South Park has taught me more things about religion than school ever has. The fact that South Park had two, I don't know. I don't think they were close together, had anything to do with each other, but there was one episode where they had and explained the entirety of Scientology, like, exactly as it is said in the book, and like in the sides of the in the sides of the screen it says, this is what Scientologists actually believe. And then same with Mormonism, they had that, and I mean, I guess Matt and Trey wrote the Book of Mormon and all that stuff, right? Or they were so it's like the fact that that this cartoon, this, like, shit watch, basically the shit post of cartoons, right? Isn't that essentially what it was? It was, memes and everything. Yeah, so it's like that taught me more than any school thing, because I mean, in school didn't even necessarily teach me about,
they don't generally,
Christianity either.
It's implicit in some places, but the issue is, it's ironic. We have a very Christian country that pushes a generally Christian understanding of religion and its role in life. And then the religious people who are Christians complain that we don't have enough religion in schools and life and whatever. But then, like, at the same time, the reason that, like, there's no world religion classes, because the sad reality is, in order to teach that kind of stuff, you have to also teach not Christian stuff and then the Christians get mad. So there's no room for any religious understanding in school because of the people who are complaining there's not enough religion in school. And it's like, it's difficult in our society. There's no room for like religious practice easily because like you Muslims, Jews, they have to pray how many times a day. We live in a country where that is an inconvenience to your job, to school, to anything. You have to make a whole thing where it's just like it's yeah.
I remember reading something recently how basically Utah tried to they tried to make a law to ban books that basically had any sort of like graphic content in them.
Yes.
And they ended up banning the Bible and the Book of Mormon
Yeah.
because they described graphic content.
Yeah.
So it's like they really kind of turned it around on themselves.
Yeah. Hey.
Also, I mean, we could talk about it because it doesn't seem like a lot of places are talking about it. You see in Florida, they were like holding trans kids at like a courthouse and their parents were like trying to get them out. Yeah. There's like a bunch of parents screaming at courthouse doors and there's two dudes just standing there, and it's just like,
how do, I know
how. That's like literal, like, I mean, it
fascism.
kind of already happened. Yeah. I mean, it already happened with the camps for, immigrants and stuff like that, right? That was just straight up fascism, and now we're seeing it again with people literally taking children away from loving, supportive families whose parents probably don't care that their kids are trans, but the schools care that their kids are trans, and that's very strange.
And here's how they get that kind of shit. I'm a bit of a humanist. I think that the average person is a good person, and I think most people have a lot of good in them. And I think most people, maybe I'm naive, most people, when presented with here's someone, they're different from you, they're transgender, they're gay, they're Jewish, they're Muslim, they're whatever, they're different from you, they're just trying to do whatever, and honestly conveys like they this is how they're living their life. It's not getting in your way. They're just that's who they are. Most people presented with that are gonna be like, all right, I really don't care.
Yeah.
And that's why the right has to always press like, oh, they're trying to kill your children. They're trying to make your kids communists and gay, and they're sex predators. And they just make that kind of shit up, and they do it to everyone.
Yeah. And then all the while, these conservative congressmen are getting caught for actually being child predators. So
exactly.
It's like projecting much.
And it's just absurd. And it gets these people to get up in arms about like, and it's like, because I should hope that no decent person, no regular person is going to see children get locked up, separated from their families, and think, I'm the good guy for this.
Yeah.
Like,
but the thing is, it's the fact that people who do that, right? I mean, like, sure, there's a lot of fucking people on Twitter, but there's way more people not on Twitter, right? Like, there's so many people on this earth, and so many of them don't use Twitter, so many of them don't use social media because they're, healthy, well-rounded people who know how to take care of themselves and their mental health. So they don't need to seek validation through social media, right? So, and that's the problem, right? They're not out there letting their voices out, and the few that are mentally unstable, so we just get really mad at all the people saying the other ends of things where they're just, being happy about kids being locked up or, freaking out about a beer sponsoring a trans person in a TikTok. Or I guess they had them on the can at one point.
They have the rainbow can, and then the same company making that beer is the one making the like Patriot alternative. It's like, oh yeah, we're with you.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's the same exact manufacturer making both beers, and it's like
it's almost as if these companies are they don't care.
Need absolutely nothing. Right?
They don't.
This guy probably works for Bud Light, and he was like, oh, "Okay, I know how to keep selling them Bud Light," and then you went and made this.
Yes.
And that's actually, I don't know. I mean, obviously, we haven't talked about it in the recording because we haven't recorded in 4 years. But I don't know if we talked about it in person when we last talked. But there was there was like an ad for the Freedom beer or whatever, and at the end of it, he like hits a Bud Light with a baseball. And he's like, "Keep that shit away from our kids" or whatever. And it's like, That just shows how vapid and annoying the argument of keep this away from our kids are. Because it's beer. It should be kept away from your kids. You're right. That should be kept away from your children. Your children should not be endorsing and being into beer commercials, regardless of who's in there. Like, why?
Not give my 6-year-old child a 6-pack of beer. I want it to be racist as hell.
I want to know that this beer was brewed in a hood. But yeah, no, and it's just like, and it's just unfortunate that all the people all the people who are willing to scream at the top of their lungs about this shit are the ones who are also online and willing to pay Elon Musk $8 a month to get their voice heard a little bit further.
Yeah, and it's so blatant how social media censorship stuff. The people who complain about it the loudest are, of course, conservatives, and the people who get their accounts banned and whatever. 9 out of 10 times, it's someone who's saying like, "Hey, we should stop letting people be racist and shit," and then they get their account. It's insane. I got in trouble on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you saw this. I got in trouble on Facebook for making a post where I made a joke that British slang is stupid. I was like, I hate British people are like super repressive, but then they say shit like brekkie, and it's like it's just like I hate that. And that was like the post, and then I get a warning, and it's like I get the post gets taken down, and I appeal, they put it back, but it was like I've got like 100 people on my Facebook. I'm not broadcasting this to the public.
Yeah. So like, who saw that and was like, I don't know.
Well, it was automatic. This got automatically
it was just
flagged.
automatic. Oh my god.
Yes, so their censorship, their reporting stuff can automatically flag something that seems disparaging against the British, but I will report accounts that just post like Jews are the problem, Jews are control, links to that kind of stuff, and I'll get back like our system didn't find anything wrong here. And it's like
or a person who has 88 in their username.
Yeah.
And
or like is just
probably wasn't born in 1988.
And this is for people who are doing what is classified by the terms of use as hate speech, who are getting away with it. But there's people who you can post stuff about, anti-transgender people that doesn't break the rules because it's just like this is just news in my opinion, and it's like I think if your opinion is that a group of people should have fewer rights.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Twitter's
not much.
Twitter's an absolute shit show now. Yeah, they changed the terms of service to basically not protect trans people anymore. Yeah. And then also, I haven't been on Twitter for very long, somewhere on the screen or in the description, but in the very short time I've been on it, the 2 posts where I had engagement was one where I made a joke. Ketamine, more like ketamine. Haha, not seriously, give it to me. And then there was Jordan Peterson, more like whoreman penis son. And for the ketamine one, I got a bot responding telling me about I could buy ketamine from them. And for the penis one, I got a bot telling me that I could buy porn from them.
Nice.
So Elon's doing a very good job of stopping those bots because I have a total of 13 followers and I have encountered 2 bots in the whatever maybe 100 random tweets or retweets I've made. So it's like you're not doing anything to change it for the better. You're just making everything worse, and you don't know anything about. I think I saw somebody because there was like. A post about Elon's like pushing to make sure that the rocket can get shot today on 420, and somebody was like how ridiculous is it that this just like frat boy owns this company and feels the need to make something happen on the funny number day, like that's like we're making a fucking podcast, but we're not changing the we're not stopping ourselves from
we don't
using our
Twitter.
billions and billions of dollars to make this podcast.
No, I mean, it's even if the guy didn't have ownership of like Twitter or whatever. I mean, it's like this is a 50-something-year-old father whose entire social life is trying to impress strangers online by saying 69, and it's just like that we live in an economic and political system that rewards that behavior. That indicts capitalism more than Marx ever could.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, Elon Musk is the personification of late-stage capitalism. I think is what it's becoming. And this is something that pisses me off, too. Because I look the way I do, passing cis white man, most people are okay with just being terrible to me. Or like thinking that I'm okay with them saying terrible things, like talking about how much they hate such and such a race or class or whatever. Damn it.
Well, I agree.
Well, I mean, I hate it because it's happening kind of in like in online discourse as well. I don't know. It's just like, everybody is just terrible.
For clarity's sake, right here and now, whatever impression you get, I think we're both pretty far left, and we are explicitly a trans rights podcast here at Fun Facts and Sad Truths.
Fun fact, there's more than two genders.
Sad truth, way things are going, soon there'll be none. They'll all be dead.
Oh.
Yeah. Or a gender.
Thought we were all going to get chemically castrated by 6G. Right? That's the leftist utopia, right? Did you ever see that? I think it's a Netflix show, The 3% or something.
No.
It's a New Zealand show, or I think it's New Zealand. No, why did I say New Zealand? Not at all. It's some
New Jersey.
No, it's its original language is completely not English. So like, I watched it dubbed, it was a little weird because it's weird to watch live action things dubbed because it's very like clearly dubbed. Yeah. At least with anime you can kind of work it. But anyway, basically it was like, you wanted to work. Everybody lived in the slums, and then every year there was like a test, and then whoever, the 3% of the population could pass the test and then go to like the, utopia or whatever. But the utopia was just, they were all castrated because they didn't want to create more poverty and create more people, right? So, yeah, so it was like, it ended up being a real fucked up society across, so it's like nobody wanted to, or it's like, and it ended up, they were trying to destroy what that was and just make, like, why not give those resources to everybody?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of them.
That's pretty much what the Joker was about. We can talk about this for real in a podcast at some point, but that movie sucked so bad.
Oh, dude.
Joaquin Phoenix was good. He's a great actor.
It sucked. No, it sucked awful, terrible shit.
The politics of it were just so, like, mishmash and just like...
Dude, it was... it was like a kid from 4chan in 2004 wrote a movie.
Yeah.
What it was.
What it felt like was like if a right-wing 4chan kind of person from like 2012... it kind of began being like, actually, I think some leftist stuff is true. But, like, that was as far as they got.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, man, society is kind of fucked, right? What if there was a clown about it? Like...
That is... That's the best. What if there was a clown about it? I like that.
It was so just like, and it's, if you're gonna just make effectively a remake of other movies, like, Martin Scorsese is one of like the short list of director names you use to say universally accepted good director. If you're going to try and just make Taxi Driver, you need to not be the guy who made the fucking Hangover.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
like you're not going to make
Is that
a
who
better...
directed it?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You're not going to make a better fucking Taxi Driver.
Is that... I can't... That makes a lot more sense.
I think genuinely, and this is one of the nicest things I'll say about anybody, I do think his heart was in the right place.
Yeah.
I don't think that he was nearly smart enough to make that a good movie. And it's like you're watching Joaquin Phoenix give a phenomenal performance, effectively.
For a non-existent character.
It's just stupid. And it's like, he's really doing a great job here.
Yeah.
But it would be like if he was doing that in fucking like, I don't know, like fucking, what's a good, bad, like Delgo. We just had like Daniel Day-Lewis just killing it as the main character in Delgo. That's a reference everyone will get.
What's Delgo?
Delgo was a phenomenal flop of a movie. It was an animated movie about kind of dinosaurs that came out in the early 2000s. Nobody saw it. Flopped really hard. And when it comes to movies I like to reference, Delgo's up there. Oogie Loves the Movie. Have you talked about Oogie Loves the Movie?
No, I've never heard of these things before.
So you're getting a snapshot into what is going on in here. This is my realm. Oogie Loves the Movie was a children's movie with these weird puppet guys in it. And the marketing idea behind it was, what if, we take a movie and it's an original property, an original IP, intellectual property, whatever. Kids, statistically, prefer seeing stuff that they already know. They like seeing Teletubbies the movie, or fucking Dora the Explorer the movie. Mm-hmm. So instead of just making the Oogie Loves, the guy who did it, and I think he actually was like someone who'd worked on Teletubbies in terms of marketing, was like, you should market it as if it's a movie version of a TV show, even though there was never an Oogie Loves TV show, under the impression that children would be stupid enough to tell their parents, like, oh, they're making an Oogie Loves movie. I want to see it now. And this didn't work.
Of course it. Why the fuck would that work?
It didn't work. But the trailers are all like, the Oogie Loves you love are coming to the big screen. Oogie Loves the movie. And like, it flopped terribly. But Christopher Lloyd is in it. And he's like playing the bongos or something. And he's just like, Oogie. And like that's the thing. Christopher Lloyd, who was in, he was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, I think was his first movie, one of the most Oscar-nominated films of all time. He was also in Oogie Loves the Movie. So, really spans the human experience with his acting.
What is with people making movies who know absolutely nothing about the source material? So, like, that obviously didn't have any source material.
Yeah.
But, like, and I guess they're, like, getting better about it now. Like, the new Super Mario Bros. Movie, I've only heard good things about. It's basically the Minions, but Mario. Like, it's not a terrible movie. It's not a masterpiece. It's just a movie that exists. And, if you have kids, I'm sure it's nice to watch, whatever. But, like,
I'm gonna go...
back in our day... I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
Well, no, you finish, because...
I was going to say, back in our day, all the movies that were made from, like, other... kind of properties made absolutely no sense or did not connect to the original property at all. Yeah. Or like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like I feel like it didn't, like they just made up a bunch of their own shit that they wanted to.
Yeah.
Definitely, I mean, as we already said, the Super Mario Brothers movie that just did whatever the hell it wanted to.
Masters of the Universe, where to save on money, instead of making it a fantasy movie, he just winds up in New York or wherever.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh, he's on Earth today now.
Yeah. Oh, man, I'm trying to think. I had a few in my head that I was thinking.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Oh, no.
I think that caring about source material can be fine. Like, I think Hellboy, I like that Guillermo del Toro worked with Mike Mignola. I think that worked well. But on the flip side of it...
Or?
The old ones, not the newer one. On the flip side of it, Tim Burton actively didn't give a shit about Batman comics. And I think his Batman movies, I personally think, are better than the other ones. And I think that, you know, you look at Stanley Kubrick in The Shining. Stephen King despised him for it. And I think that's why it's a good movie, because Stephen King is not a particularly good writer. And and the same with like Clockwork Orange. I like the novel of Clockwork Orange, but you have to, as a filmmaker, and this is the distinction, as a filmmaker, you need to be willing to say, my concern is making a good movie, not making a faithful adaptation. The issue is, most of those guys, the guys who made like He-Man, Master of the Universe, Super Mario Brothers movie, they also didn't care about making a good movie.
Yeah.
That's, and because it's like, the Marvel movies, I hear so much about how they're like true to the comics and stuff. And like, I don't care. They're not, I like the comics. I'll read the comics. You know, I don't like yeah. We're not getting paid for this.
You're fine, do what you gotta do. This is not an official production. Jordan Peterson's stealing some of our cookies.
Yeah, right. But it's like,
Okay,
yeah.
I see where you're coming from and I say this with the utmost respect as someone with a certain level of autism, when you're making a movie where your primary fan base is going to be autistic people who might literally kill you if you make Sonic's arms blue, you might want to, you know, make it with some sort of integrity to the source material. That's what I mean. Like keeping some integrity, maybe not necessarily like, you know, keeping 100% whatever like the story is, but like some like, you know, and you know, maybe I was a little harsh on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I remember it looking grotesque just because it was, you know, animatronics from the 2000s. So
oh, we were talking about the 2000s one?
I'm talking, yeah, what are you talking about?
I thought you meant the 80s ones.
No, like I'm talking about live action ones.
Yeah, where they're in the costumes.
Oh, yeah, maybe I'm talking about the 80s ones too.
Yeah, because like I was going to say, like most people remember those movies more than they know the comic books, which are totally different.
True.
And that's a good example, I think, of like when they did a good thing, where it's like, that doesn't mean the comics were bad. I didn't read the comics and I didn't watch the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies, but they had a clear vision of what they wanted to do, and they did it. And you know, it had relevance because they were trying to make something. Yeah. Like the Mario movie with Bob Hoskins. I don't think anyone making that movie thought they were making a good movie.
No, I mean, that's why Bob Hoskins was drunk the whole time. Yeah. He was smashed.
That movie.
If you watch it with that knowledge, every single thing he does is so much funnier. Because he does so much driving, too.
Yeah, that's
he does a lot of driving in the movie.
Which is weird.
He's clearly very drunk.
Like, everything about that movie is so fucking weird.
There's some like post-apocalyptic kind of like world that looks like a grimy kind of set but I can't remember what it is now. But yeah, everybody says it's just like a Mario version of that, and yeah, I mean, I don't know, as an adult I love it.
Yeah. As
a kid I got pissed cuz as a child I was expecting the movie that came out a week ago.
Yeah, right.
I was expecting that movie back in 2001 when I was in first grade wanting to see a Mario movie.
I wasn't even upset. I was just beyond confused. Like, how did that get approved for children?
Yeah, maybe thinking back on it, I think I'm upset. But you know what? Yeah, I might not have been actually upset. I think I just watched it. And at the end, I was like, what did that have to do with Mario?
Yeah, like when they were like, that's Toad or Goomba or whatever. And I was like, that is a scary man.
Yes. Oh, like, yes, the Goombas.
That's tiny heads. Yeah. Oh, like, and on top of everything, because like you look at making something for kids and making it, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The comic was a lot darker and more serious. They made it something fun for kids. Mm-hmm. I get doing that. I don't understand taking Mario and being like, what if there were like scary monsters and strippers and bombs And
I love that.
Yes.
It's great.
I love it.
I'm
but
all
like,
for it, but why? Yeah.
Who came up with the idea of, like, what if this was fucking fucked up all the time? Like, yeah, man.
Oh, yeah, no, man. It's that's such a beautiful thing that I think, yeah, whatever like sequence of events that happened to make the Mario movie the way that it was will never happen again with another movie.
No, and
So
you know
perfectly.
what? It genuinely, as bad as that movie is, it is really a loss for pop culture that you don't see like dog shit like that anymore.
Yeah,
because bad movies back then,
no.
they had like something. Like you watch like really dog shit movies now, and it's just like, okay.
Well, it's because
there's nothing shocking.
Because now you can film on an iPhone and get, a higher quality than this Toys R Us camera we got.
Yeah.
But,
you know what I was going to say? I didn't tell this joke because you went with Toy Story and that was funnier. Before you said that, I was going to say this was on a bootleg Tickle Me Elmo.
Tickle Me Elmo.
And we figured out how to workshop it into a working camera.
You can also play Doom on it. Oh.
I think I had a split. Man. We got this episode probably was significantly better than the other one.
You should switch.
Yeah, right.
After the fact. No, I'll edit the other one and make it funny. If I'm gonna be the one editing it from start to finish, you were the one editing it before. Now I'm gonna edit it.
Please have fun.
We'll see.
Cut out as much as remove anything.
Keeping all of it.
Yeah, right.
I'm just gonna put it all as a raw.
Cut out every single part where we actually laugh.
all
the good bits.
All the genuinely funny moments.
Yeah. You want to set expectations low.
Well, again, if you're still here, I'm not sure that you are, but thank you.
We're on YouTube now, so you can actually comment. So if you're the person from Lebanon,
and you happen to find us,
I want you to know we've been thinking about you for years.
Because we got 3 likes on our episode 6, the 420 special I released today, and 2 of them were me and Pepsi. So the third one, thank you, Lebanon. All right. Adios.
Bye bye.